Hello everybody, just thought I'd do a quick update on films I've picked up recently. Not all of them are new releases, but ones I've recently got, and then I've watched most of them, so I'll just give you a quick overview of what I thought of them. So we've got the Arrow release of Lords of Chaos, which is about Norwegian black metal movement in the 90s, with sort of mayhem and Varg Vikernes. Basically, we're burning churches down and murdering each other and just all kinds of crazy. Some of it I don't think is that accurate. I think the way they sort of portrayed Varg, from what I know, when he first came as like a sort of geek and like just sort of didn't seem true. And then some of the way they sort of make Euronymous, where he's just trying to take credit for everything. I'm not sure if that's true. I sort of watched documentaries and things on the original, but obviously, is different people's got different opinions. But yeah, quite brutal, quite disturbing. Some quite good playing actually by the people in it. Rory Culkin, probably the most famous person, Macaulay Culkin's brother. Yeah, quite enjoyed that. I got this Session 9, Second Sight Special Edition. Comes with a booklet, postcards, and a 2-disc Blu-ray. I haven't rewatched this since I've had it. I've only just got it, but one of my favourite films ever. Brad Anderson, one of my favourite directors. Session 9 and The Machinist, two of my favourite by him. Yeah, I've had the DVD. I don't think they've really had a good Blu-ray release of this film up until now. I think there was like just a standard kind of one, which was still quite expensive to import. I think it was from America on Amazon. And then you probably need a sort of multi-region DVD Blu-ray player. I've never really looked into it too much because I do have it on DVD. But yeah, real good release with 2 discs, loads of special features. And obviously Second Sight do release some nice ones. I think it is limited edition. And I've got this new Arrow release of, well, sorry, not new, but new to me. We Are the Flesh. I think it's meant to be quite messed up. I think it's like a Mexican film. Meant to be quite sort of intense, but yeah, not watched this one yet, so I'll let you know when I get round to it. And you've got Malignant, which for me, it's a good film. A twist in it. Obviously, not a spoiler to say there's a twist because you don't know what the twist is, but I think everyone kind of has heard there's a twist in it. Twist kind of works and makes sense once it's in the sort of context of the film, but I know it's kind of meant to be a bit campy, but to me, the bit in the prison scene, you'll know what I mean if you've watched it, it's kind of borderlining on a bit silly. And you know, if you're watching the film with the right kind of context, that you know it's a kind of campy sort of film like that, then you're going to enjoy it. But if you go into it and like thinking it's going to be, you know, a bleak and serious kind of, almost to the sort of Saw, you know, I'd say this is a bit more insidious than Saw if you're into James Wan film, or maybe even a bit more Dead Silence, but not as bad as that. But yeah, it's an enjoyable film, but few sort of moments I thought were a bit silly, but yeah, it's well directed and good that James Wan has sort of gone back to horror really rather than Fast and Furious. And you've got Saint Maud. I think this is quite, it's an artistic film. I think it's quite like an independent kind of film. Rose Glass, I think, is her first film. She's an interesting director with amazing cinematography, quite sort of disturbing, powerful film, good acting. It is a good film. It's a quite slow burner. Certain people are only into, you know, they want their action all the time. They might sort of find it a long sit through, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite a good sort of independent film, and there's not that many religious horror films other than obviously Exorcist and Stigmata, but it does take a different turn to that. And yeah, what's his name? Morfydd, I guess you say it. Morfydd Clark is really good in it. I think it's one of her first roles. And you've got Eaton Alive. This is a Toby Hooper film. Obviously Arrow release. Obviously I collect all my Arrow ones, so I just pick up any Arrow ones I see, even if they're films I'm not that interested in watching. If I can get them from CEX for sort of £5 or on offer when they're in the sort of Arrow sale, and I do pick them up. Yeah, not watched this one. Yeah, I've not heard it's great. I've not heard it's one of Toby Hooper's sort of worst films about some sort of killer in a swamp and he feeds him to a crocodile. We've got Willy's Wonderland. Not sure if anyone has heard of this, but this is crazy. So Nicolas Cage basically has to stay the night in a well, Willy's Wonderland is kind of like in England. You'd say when you have a McDonald's birthday party, and then there's a little sort of play area with like Ronald McDonald. It's kind of like their own sort of version of that, and basically all the animatronics come alive at night. and he has to fight them. He's basically a janitor for the night. He breaks down in his car, so they say they'll fix it because he hasn't got any money and they don't take card. He's in the middle of nowhere. He has to clean it all up for the night. Then he's sort of fighting them. It's kind of running theme where every hour he goes for his break and plays some pinball and drinks his like fizzy drink. And yeah, it's quite a funny film. It's a bit silly. I don't think some people would like it, but I quite enjoy it. And yeah, it's quite sort of crazy. But yeah, Nicolas Cage, the only person that really could play that role in the way he doesn't speak one word, but the facial expressions he makes sort of enough to let you know what he's thinking and what's going on. And you've got Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor uncut. So I don't know what's in the sort of cut version, but this one's not only quite disturbing, but it's got some sort of full frontal nudity and sort of sex scenes, quite sort of pornographic. Yeah, this is a really good film. I much preferred this to Antiviral. His first one I found, I wouldn't say boring, but I didn't enjoy that one too much. Whereas this one, its original concept says more of a sci-fi film. Feels a bit more like sort of some of his dad, David Cronenberg's work. He sort of takes some inspiration from, but yeah, some amazing visuals. Basically, they need when they assassinate people, they sort of want to take over the mind of someone close to them, so they can sort of get in their life. So they would say be their husband, and then they'd sort of cause an argument, make some kind of reason that they might have sort of come back that night and killed them, use the person's body they're taking over their mind to assassinate them, and then they sort of say shoot themselves in the head, leave the body, come back to the normal room. So they are sort of possessing people, but basically she goes into one guy's mind to murder somebody, and the guy's obviously got some kind of psychic power, traps her inside his mind, and there's a kind of war going on with all kinds of visuals. Yeah, that's a good film, probably the best sci-fi film I've seen this year or sort of recently. And then it's Arrow video release, quite a new release of the Mangler, which I'd never actually seen before because I'd heard it was awful. And after watching it, it's hokey. Some of the acting, especially by the foreman, not Robert Englund, but the sort of guy just underneath him, it's like running the floor. His acting is quite terrible. Robert Englund is pretty hokey. There's a few. Ted Levine is really good in it. He's got no scenes where he's sort of hamming it up. I thought as you'd expect from Ted Levine. I think this was his next film after Silence of the Lambs. But yeah, it's obviously based on a Stephen King book. I can't remember the book too much to tell you how closely it sticks to it. But yeah, I thought it was quite an enjoy. It's got some like gore. I think this might be like a more uncut version. But after the people get mangled and they're all kind of crushed and lumped up on the floor, people are like screaming. It's quite gory. It's quite a silly sort of film, really. I feel Mangler possessed by a demon, but yeah, if you can sort of suspend disbelief and you're into those kind of B movies and you don't take everything too seriously, then I think you'll enjoy it. But yeah, I think it's been like unfairly maligned because yeah, it's not a great film, and I've seen worse Stephen King adaptations, and I've seen much worse releases on Arrow. But for what it is, I thought it was quite enjoyable. And yeah, you know, don't get me wrong, it's no Shawshank Redemption level sort of filmmaking, but it's not as bad as people say. It's enjoyable, and yeah, there is some good gore and quite a good atmosphere. And yeah, I was actually quite surprised after how bad I sort of heard it was. I was expecting like, you know, the Room Birdemic kind of level, but no, it's much better than that. It's not brilliant, but yeah, 6 or 7 out of 10, I'd say. So yeah, I think that's all the films I picked up recently in a little overview, and I might do like a deeper dive into the Session 9 and sort of unbox it and show you it all the same as I've got the Changeling Second Sight box set with the book and things, and the Changeling also is one of my favourite horror films ever. Right, thanks for watching. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.